You know, when we talk about enlightenment, the path often sounds really mystical, kind of vague. But what if it wasn't? What if you could structure it? What if there was a clear, systematic blueprint for transforming your own mind? Well, one psychologist believed there was, and he approached it like an architectural project.
I mean, that's a pretty bold question, right? Can you really take something so profound and break it down into stages and practices and milestones, just like you were building a house? Can you actually architect your own awakening?
So the guy who believed this was Dr. Daniel P. Brown. And he wasn't just a meditator or a scholar, he was a master synthesizer. The man was an absolute framework freak. He had this incredible genius for taking these ancient, really complex systems and turning them into practical, structured guidebooks for the modern mind.
So his whole system really starts with this high-level master plan. He called it the 3 maps. And you can think of it as the overarching view of the entire spiritual journey, the complete architectural blueprint from the foundation all the way to the rooftop.
And the power of the 3 maps is really in its simplicity. See, this isn't about some vague, far-off goal. It's a clear, developmental sequence. It's a true map. It tells you exactly where you are, where you're going, and what you need to do to get there.
Dr. Brown laid it out so clearly. First, on Map 1, you get a direct taste of what awakening actually feels like. Then, on Map 2, you work to stabilize that experience, to make it a continuous, 24/7 state that you can't lose. And finally, on Map 3, you mature that stable awareness into its absolute fullest expression. The key takeaway here is that it's a progressive journey, not some single random lightning strike.
Okay, so that's the key question, isn't it? You have this beautiful blueprint, but you can't build a skyscraper without a solid foundation and, the right tools for the job. And that is exactly where Dr. Brown introduces his second framework, the elephant path. Think of this as the essential toolkit you need to even begin walking the path that he laid out with the 3 maps.
The core metaphor here is just brilliant. Our ordinary mind, it's like a wild elephant. It's incredibly powerful, but it's scattered, it's restless, it's all over the place. The elephant path is a step-by-step manual for gently taming that elephant and transforming all of its scattered energy into this incredibly focused power.
And the process is really gradual. You start at stage 1, where your mind barely stays on the meditation object. By stage 4, okay, you're starting to get the hang of it. Then around stage 7, you hit what Dr. Brown loved to call concentration cruise control. It starts to feel almost effortless. And by the time you reach stage 9, you have this perfect, effortless, pliable focus.
But here's the crucial point. This isn't just about zoning out or having a quiet mind. The real goal is to develop what Dr. Brown specifically called a serviceable mind. That's a mind that is so stable and so pliable that it executes your intention instantly, with no interference, no second guessing from your chatty thoughts. This is the foundation for absolutely everything else.
Okay, so let's say you've done it. You've tamed the elephant. You have a serviceable mind. But what does that mind do with its newfound stability? What are the actual psychological shifts that are happening as you progress along the path?
Well, to explain this part, Dr. Brown turned to yet another framework, this time pulling from an ancient text. He looked at the famous Heart Sutra, and he didn't see it as abstract philosophy. No, he saw it as a description of the inner architecture of awakening, a process of clearing away these clouds that obscure our true nature.
He translated that famous mantra, Gete Gete Paragate, as gone, gone, gone way beyond. And for him, each gone represented a specific cloud of misperception, just dissolving, revealing a clearer and clearer view of reality. It's basically a psychological model of deconstruction. And these clouds clear in a very specific order. It's kind of like peeling an onion. First, you stop getting swept away by your thoughts. Then, you see through the illusion of having a solid, separate self. After that, the very constructs of time and space dissolve. Then you realize awareness isn't located anywhere. And finally, the habit of splitting reality up into separate little objects, that just fades away. Each step is a deeper and deeper letting go.
And this is what makes Dr. Brown's whole approach so unique, right? The 3 maps, the elephant path, the 5 clouds, it's all so incredibly systematic. So you have to wonder, was he just inventing all this from scratch, or was he tapping into something much, much older?
Well, it turns out he had found the original source code, an ancient Tibetan system called A Khrid Dzogchen. And this became the template, the inspiration for his entire approach.
I mean, the name itself says it all. A Khrid literally means practical guidebook. Now, can you imagine, for Daniel P. Brown, the ultimate framework freak, to discover an ancient system that actually calls itself a practical guidebook? I mean, that's like finding the mother lode. It was a complete step-by-step path from the very beginning to the very end, and it was organized with this incredible precision.
And this quote from him really shows why it captivated him so much. A Khrid wasn't just some collection of random techniques. It was a comprehensive curriculum for enlightenment. It gave him that deep, ancient structure that he then so brilliantly adapted for a modern audience.
So now we can finally see how all of these different pieces just click together. They're not four separate teachings at all. They actually form a single, elegant architectural model for the mind.
So let's just put it all together. The elephant path gives you the tools, that stable, serviceable mind. The three maps provide the overall strategy, the blueprint for the journey. The Heart Sutra describes the psychological process you actually go through, and the whole thing is built on the ancient source code of Amkrita. It's just this perfectly nested, synergistic system.
In the end, though, and for all his love of structure, Dr. Brown was really clear about this, the maps were not the point. The point was always the territory. The goal of all this intricate architecture wasn't to build some beautiful mental model. It was to reveal what was already there, a way of being that just naturally expresses itself as wisdom and spontaneous compassion for others. So I guess the final question is, what is your map pointing you towards?